Hello my dear children, I am Anupama and I welcome you once again to Nagesh Kharasgi Orchid School channel. I am here to teach you a lesson in English for grade 8 and the lesson number is for Bipin Choudhary's Lapse of Memory. So my dear children, we have already done with the 3 episodes of this chapter. I have done with the explanation part and today will be the concluding part of this chapter. This is somewhat very interesting story even I have read, which is written by Satyajit Ray. What we could see in this chapter that Bipin Choudhary, who is also called Bipin Babu for short, is completely alone or he is an introvert kind of personality who doesn't like to mingle a lot with his friends or doesn't even like to have idle chat. We have seen far till now that this fellow, he is the main protagonist of the story around whom the story revolves. So we can see that his habits, he loved to read lot of books. Every Monday after returning from his job, he used to drop himself at the new market in Kalicharan. He used to buy some books. The books probably were related to some crime books, ghosts, thrillers and so on. And he used to keep on reading complete whole week probably. And this was his daily routine. One day it had happened to have that there was one fellow who was completely stranger to Bipin Babu. And then he intrudes and he interferes at the time when Bipin was going through the bookshelf. And then he says that you don't remember me because I was the one who had arranged a car for your Ranchi trip. The moment when this statement was told by this fellow whose name was Parimal Ghosh, Bipin was not at all sure for this because he did not know this fellow nor even his name. He had never come across Parimal Ghosh ever in his life. He said that I had never been to Ranchi. Yeah, I had planned, but I am sure about this. But Parimal Ghosh kept on continuing to give all the details about his trip, that he was the one who arranged the car, he was the one who took Bipin Babu along with Dinesh Mukherjee who accompanied Bipin Babu in his trip. And the year he did not forget to mention that was in the year 1958. And then the moment when he told that in the year 58 you had been to Ranchi, Bipin Babu was again sure that in year 58 in the month of October he had been to Kanpur to one of his friend's house, Haridas Bagchi, to perform one puja. But despite of this also, Parimal Ghosh kept on giving him all the details, saying that you had been to Hudro Fall where you had fallen, you had got a cut on your right knee. As well as whenever you used to go to any sightseeing, you used to carry one bag of books, as well as you did not prefer to stay in hotel, you prefer to be in bungalow where the food was being served or prepared by Bawarchi. Then even Bipin Babu said that no, but I am sure that I had never been to Ranchi. So he tells that Dinesh Mukherjee was one of your friend who accompanied you in that journey. He stayed at one of his sister's house and you were in bungalow. He even told that I have something to tell you about your personal life, that you married and you lost your wife 10 years back. You have no children and that your brother had died because of insanity. After knowing all these intimate details, when Parimal Ghosh told Bipin Babu was little bit irritated, frustrated, though he kept on continuing or saying that he had never been to Ranchi. And he doesn't entertain Parimal Ghosh anymore and he leaves that place, which left Parimal Ghosh in utterly disbelief. In the second session, we even saw that Bipin Babu still thought that he should have not paid much of the attention to the stranger. But the thought still came in his mind that how come it is possible that I don't know this fellow, but how does he know everything about my personal life? So he thought that he should first ask his friend Haridas Bakshi. He thought that he told that he had been to Kanpur. So he thought he should ask Haridas Bakshi that whether he was really at Kanpur or somewhere else. But unfortunately, Haridas Bakshi was not in the town. He had already left to Japan with his wife a week back, and he doesn't have his address. So there was no question to write a letter, and after all, again Bipin thought that I am damn confident, I am sure about my memory that I know I had never been to Ranchi. But again, still he kept on pondering on the same thought, and the next day when he had to go to the job, till afternoon, again he thought about Parimal Ghosh and the meeting which he had with him. So one more time, the thought came on his mind that he should once again confirm with Dinesh Mukherjee, whom he was accompanied with in that trip. So he thought to call Dinesh Mukherjee and get all the information. And then even Dinesh Mukherjee confirms that yes, he had been to Ranchi in the year 58 and Dinesh Mukherjee had accompanied him. So that time he got a little nervous. He was so much worried that what can be done. His head was going spin. He was going mad. He was caught in a tight spot. He started to suspect on his very own memory that is it really possible that some part of my life's incident I have started to miss, I have started to forget, or what it is exactly. Because now, as if now, there are two witnesses who tells him that yeah, you had been to Ranchi. Those were Parimal Ghosh and Dinesh Mukherjee. Now, what can be done? When he was resting in his house one evening after returning from job where he was not able to continue the job that afternoon, he came back and he was resting. There was one fellow who came at his house. He was none other than his schoolmate, his long friend, that was Chunni Lal. He was his schoolmate, and nowadays every time he was coming to Bipin Choudhary's house because he was passing with bad times of his life. He had lost his job and he had no money as well. So he thought that probably my very true friend would help me in my bad days. So he thought that evening Chunni Lal, as usual, he came to Bipin Babu's house. But Bipin Babu was in that condition, he did not think much of Chunni Lal and he tried to avoid him initially, and he passed on the message same to his servant saying that not only today but coming couple of weeks he is not in condition to meet Chunni Lal. But before this message was conveyed to Chunni Lal, Bipin thought that as Chunni is my schoolmate, I should at least ask him, there is no harm, because he knows very well about my life as much as I know. And if I would try to ask him, probably he will confirm and he will tell that yeah, whether I had been to Ranchi or no. So with the same intention, he goes down in the living room and then he asks Chunni Lal that can you recall something that in the year 58, whether I was in Kolkata or in Ranchi. Looking at the condition of Bipin Babu, Chunni Lal was little bit shocked. He was taken aback that how it is that possible that this incident had taken only 6 to 7 years back and Bipin Babu has forgotten that he had been to Ranchi. That means Chunni Lal also confirms that yes, he had been to Ranchi in the year 58. But looking at his current condition, Chunni Lal thought not to ask him anything about the job and he left that place, suggesting that it is much better that he should consult a doctor. Immediately working on that suggestion, he called one of the physicians whose name is Dr. Paresh Chanda. When he listens all the plight of Bipin Babu about his forgetfulness, everything about his trip, everything, all the details, those 3 witnesses, everything, even Dr. Chanda was left in puzzle. He said this is very unique case he had ever come across in his life, across in his experience. But Dr. Chanda, as if now prescribing a nerve tone, tonic as well as some tranquilizers, he suggests something to Bipin Babu. He says that as of now I cannot do with you, Mr. Choudhary, but one thing I can do is you do one thing. You go to Ranchi, book ticket and go back to those places wherever you had been visited. Probably visiting those sites, looking at those sites, there are chances that your memory would help you to recall everything. And that's the only thing I can suggest you as of now. So, this was a good suggestion which was been given by Dr. Chanda. Immediately Bipin Babu works on that, and next day when he gets up, he feels better because of the medicine. He calls in his office, gives some instruction, and he gets a ticket booked, a first class ticket booked to his railway journey. What happens next? We'll see everything in detail, my dear children. I want you with complete attention because this is the concluding session or episode of this chapter. Everything will be revealed, whether he had really been to Ranchi, what had happened. So I want everyone with page number 68 in your honeydew textbook, be with pen or pencil in the hand and do underline the difficult words as well as phrases. Let's move on. Getting off the train. Getting off the train means getting down the train at Ranchi next morning. He realized at once that he had never been there before. So the moment when Bipin Babu dropped himself at Ranchi's railway station and looking at all those sights, there itself he realized that yes, I am pretty sure that I had never been to Ranchi, and this is completely true. But he came out of the station, took a taxi and drove around means roamed around the town for a while, for a couple of hours. Then too, he realized that the streets, the buildings, the hotels, the bazaars and the Morabadi hill, with none of this had he the slightest acquaintance. Slightest means was least familiar, slightest acquaintance. So, the moment when he dropped himself down on Ranchi's railway station, therein only he realized that yeah, he had never been to Ranchi. But what was being suggested by Dr. Chanda, that you need to go to all those sites, probably that will help you to recall some of the part of your memory. So he goes and visits what not. He goes to the streets, he visits the building, he even goes to the hotels, he looks at different bazaars, even the Morabadi hill. All these sites, looking at that, wandering at different places of the town, then too it was for sure to him that he doesn't even remember the slightest of the acquaintance, means he was not even slightest of familiar with that. Because he thought that this is the very first time he has come across all this scenario. Then, would a trip to the Woodrow Falls help? Now, after visiting all these sites, my dear children, there was only one site left, that was Woodrow Falls. Why Woodrow Falls? If you remember, my dear children, that was being told by Parimal Ghosh that he had been to Woodrow Falls, and there had taken one incident that Bipin Babu had slipped, he had fallen over there and he got a cut on his right knee. So he thought that the only site which is left to see is the Woodrow Falls. So he should go there. And then he did not believe, but initially going to Woodrow Falls, he did not believe because he was pretty sure, looking at all these sites, which building, hotels, bazaars, hill and everything, he was sure. Then he thought that why should I go there, simply waste my time. But again he thought, but at the same time, he did not wish to leave with feeling that he had not tried enough. But later on, if he returns back with no hope to Calcutta, probably he should not regret that was one place I missed, I should have gone. So just for the experiment purpose, he even goes and pays visit to Woodrow Falls. So he arranged for a car and left for Woodrow in the afternoon. What happens next? Suddenly, at 5 o'clock, The same afternoon in Hudro, two Gujarati gentlemen from a group of picnickers. Picnickers means the people, those who have left to picnic, discovered Bipin Babu lying unconscious. Unconscious is the state where you are not conscious, where you are not aware, where you get faint, beside a boulder. Now boulder is nothing but a rock, a big rock which is round somewhere near the waterfall. So what had happened? Finally Bipin Babu decides that yes, he should go to Hudro Falls. And somewhere by 5 o'clock in the afternoon near Hudro Fall, there were two Gujarati gentlemen who had been there to enjoy their picnic. They discovers what? That Bipin Babu was lying completely unconscious. When he came around means what? When he became conscious, when he was very much awake, the first thing Bipin Babu said was, I am finished. There is no hope left. And probably after, when he resumed back, when he was completely conscious, the only statement what came on his mind, that he is completely finished, that there is no hope left in his life. Then next morning Bipin Babu was back in Kolkata. He realized that there was truly no hope for him, because looking, visiting, paying all visit to all those sightseeing, he doesn't even remember the slightest thing that he had been to Ranchi. So he had lost his hope. Soon he would lose everything: his will to work, his confidence, his ability, his balance of mind. Was he going to end up in the asylum? Asylum is nothing but the state where you go mad, where you take shelter in completely insanity. So all the time thinking for this incident, probably now it is 5th or 6th day he has passing through this pain, and he still doesn't remember. He is putting lot of stress. He is exhausted, over exhausted probably, and then he even still doesn't remember trying out this experiment, going to Ranchi. Then too he was not in the condition to recall. Then he says that probably now I am losing everything. Everything, that means his will to work, his confidence, his ability, his balance of mind, everything he started to lose. And then he thought that I am going mad, probably I will end my life in insanity. This was his condition. Bipin Babu could not think any more. Back home he rang up Dr. Chanda and asked him to come over. Then he called Dr. Chanda that he is back, you do please come at my home. Then after a shower, that is a bath, he got into bed with an ice bag clamped means tied, on his head. Just then the servant brought him a letter which someone had left in the letter box. A greenish envelope with his name in red ink on it. So the moment when he got back from his work to his house, he got shower, he took rest on his bed with an ice bag clamped on his head. He thought to call Dr. Chanda. While he was waiting for Dr. Chanda, his servant came with a greenish envelope with the name which was written in red ink on it. Above the name it said urgent and confidential. Confidential is something which is secret, private. That was written on that envelope. In spite of his condition, Bipin Babu had a feeling that he ought to go through the letter. He tore open the envelope and took out the letter. This is what he read. So, despite his condition, means whatever was his condition, as if now that he avoided to meet everyone, he was not even conditioned to talk to anyone. But when his servant came with an envelope, there was a letter inside it, and it was written that it's very urgent and it is quite confidential. Bipin Babu could not resist his emotion. He thought that he should go to him and he should read that letter immediately, what is there inside. And what was written in that? We will see. Dear Bipin. Why dear Bipin? Because the letter was meant to Bipin. So, dear Bipin, I had no idea that affluence is nothing but the state where you are very wealthy with money. I had no idea that affluence would bring out the kind of change in you that it has done. Was it so difficult for you to help out an old friend down on his luck? An old friend down on his luck. Underline this word, down on his luck means what? Something when a person is facing unlucky days, probably very sad days. I have no money, so my resources are limited. Resources, probably money, are limited. What I have is imagination, a part of which I used in retribution. Underline the word retribution is nothing but a state wherein you punish someone as a punishment. Okay, retribution of your unfeeling behavior. Unfeeling behavior means what? Something very uncaring behavior. And then, well, you will be alright again now. A novel I have written is being considered by a publisher. If he likes it enough, it will see me through the next few days. It will see me means probably I will sell this novel to the publisher and get some money, and this money will help me to pass through my difficult months. And it is written by yours, Chunni Lal. Now, my dear children, you must have got now what exactly has happened with Bipin Babu. So, here this letter says that Bipin, you had been really very good friend of me since my childhood, since our school days. But I never thought that the wealth, the money which you have earned, I did not think that you will change to this extent. And you changed to that extent that even you did not care for your real true friend when I was passing through my bad times of my life. You did not care about my feelings, you did not worry about my condition. And now what has happened with you, it was the part of my imagination. Means this is what, forgetting about Ranchi, been to Ranchi, falling over there, accompanying with Dinesh Mukherjee, and so and all. This was the story which was actually created by me. And all these people whom I told about, they got in my drama and they played the role accordingly. So this is just that was going in my imagination. That is something, this is the story which I actually thought to write. And these were all the characters whom I actually involved in my drama. But I played a trick with you. Your memory was not tricking you, but whether I had played trick with you because I wanted to punish you for this. And the reason why, because you did not help me to serve in my bad time. So this is the punishment. So this is nothing real. You are true, you have never been to Ranchi, but this is the trick, this is drama wherein I got everybody involved in me, and this is a story which I wrote in my free time, my leisure time, and I have sold the story to one of the publisher, and even he liked the story, and probably if he purchases that, I'll get some money, and definitely if not, you have not helped me to get the job, but this book, the story has helped me to earn some money which will help to serve me coming next few months. So probably when everything was read, where everything was understood by Bipin Babu, he understood that is his mistake, that he did not think of his very true friend. And it was actually not the trick of Bipin's memory, but the trick played by whom? By Chunni Lal himself. And then he says that I am sure now after reading this letter, you have got with everything, you have learnt a good lesson out of this, and you will be better in couple of minutes now. And then he says, yours, Chunni Lal. And then when Dr. Chanda came, Bipin Babu said, I am fine. It all came back as soon as I got off the train at Ranchi. And the moment when Dr. Chanda came at his room, and then immediately when, just to avoid the embarrassment, Bipin Babu, what he did, immediately he said that I am so thankful Dr. Chanda, because he wanted to avoid that shame, saying that yeah, your idea really worked. When I dropped myself at Ranchi station, I came to know everything that yes, I had been to Ranchi. And then the doctor says, a unique case, said Dr. Chanda. I shall certainly write about it in a medical journal. Medical journal is the magazine for medical purpose. And then he says, oh really? That was so nice of me that I gave you such good idea and it really worked. But this is something, a very unique case for me, and definitely I should not forget to mention this case in one of my medical journal. And then the reason why I sent for you means I have called you is, said Bipin Babu, is that I have a pain in the hip from a fall I had in Ranchi. If you could prescribe a painkiller. So he says that the reason now I have called you is just to tell that thank you Dr. Chanda that you helped me with the suggestion and that really worked. And I could get back everything, because now he is not able to tell the truth that what has happened, who has done this, who has played the trick, the whole story, because probably he will be very much ashamed to tell this. So he simply says he lies. Dr. Chanda saying that I recalled everything, and the reason now I have called you is just because when I had been to Woodrow Falls once again, I had fallen down there. I got some hurt on my hip. So it's something like if you can help me with some painkiller to get relief from that pain. So my dear children, this was all for Bipin Choudhary's lapse of memory, not lapse, rather I could say that was a trick actually being played by his very true friend Chinni Lal. So now the message which the story gives out is like, my dear children, whenever you are in very good time in your life, but this should not happen that you should not forget about the people around you. Even you are supposed to take care of them, even you should help the needy, even you should be helpful to them, so that even those people will come out from their difficulty, and definitely you will be called as a true friend, a helpmate. So this is what all about the story. I hope you have understood and enjoyed equally as like me. Till the time everyone, take care. Bye bye everyone. Thank you.